Welcome to the world of science fiction stories, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe my channel. Enjoy the listening. I wake up to sterile white light pressing against my eyelids. My body feels sluggish, as if submerged in thick, invisible gel. A slow pulse hums in the background, rhythmic and precise like the heartbeat of an enormous machine. My eyes flutter open. A glassy dome stretches above me, segmented into luminescent panels emitting a soft blue glow. I try to move, but thick restraints pin my wrists and ankles to a contoured platform. Panic prickles in my chest. Where the hell am I? A shadow moves beyond the translucent barrier. A figure steps forward, and my breath catches. She is breathtaking, tall, and poised. Her body is wrapped in a form-fitting suit of silvery fabric that shifts colors subtly with her movement. She has humanoid features, high cheekbones, delicate brows, full lips, but her skin shimmers with an opalescent sheen, shifting between cool blues and warm purples. Her eyes, larger than a human's, are a deep obsidian reflecting the soft glow of the chamber's lights. Patient is regaining consciousness. Her voice is a smooth, melodic hum layered with an almost mechanical resonance. She is speaking into a sleek device wrapped around her wrist. Who are you? My voice comes out hoarse. My throat is dry, my head pounding. She tilts her head slightly, assessing me like a biologist observing a rare specimen. You are awake sooner than anticipated. Fascinating. I strain against the restraints, heart hammering. Where am I? What do you want with me? She taps the device on her wrist, and a holographic interface materializes above it, scrolling with alien script. You are aboard the Ether Nuva, a scientific research vessel assigned to study unique biological specimens. Your arrival was unplanned, but you possess genetic markers of significant interest to our civilization. I swallow hard. Specimen, I didn't sign up for this experiment. Her gaze flickers, something shifting behind her professional demeanor. Your resistance is understandable. I assure you our methods are non-invasive. For now. A chill runs down my spine at the way she says, for now. Who are you? I ask again, my voice steady despite the tension coiling in my gut. She presses her fingertips together, as if considering how much to reveal. I am Dr. Silen Viri, lead xenobiologist of this facility. My role is to study the physiological potential of foreign organisms. You are the first human we have encountered in viable condition for analysis. Her gaze sweeps over me, clinical yet intrigued. And you, she asks, what is your designation? Designation, I let out a dry laugh. I'm Ethan Carter, and I'm not a lab rat. Her lips quirk just slightly, almost imperceptible. Then, with a measured exhale, she lifts a hand and taps a control panel. The restraints release. I bolt upright, muscles tensed for a fight, but the moment I try to stand, my legs buckle. Dr. Viri steps forward, catching my arm before I collapse. Your body is still adjusting to the stasis cycle, she explains. You require nourishment. I jerk away from her touch, but my body betrays me. My limbs are sluggish, heavy. She observes my struggle with detached interest. Your resistance is admirable, noted. There's something in her voice, a sliver of amusement buried beneath layers of scientific precision. My heart pounds. Fear and intrigue war within me. I don't trust her, but I need answers, and I have a feeling this is only the beginning. I take a slow, measured breath, trying to steady my nerves. The air in this place is crisp, filtered, too clean. There's no familiar scent of Earth, no natural warmth, only the sterile bite of a controlled environment. My muscles are sluggish, my limbs heavy, but I force myself upright, gripping the edge of the platform for support. Dr. Silen Viri watches me with clinical detachment, arms crossed over her chest. Her shimmering skin catches the light in iridescent waves, subtle yet mesmerizing. She doesn't move to help me again. She simply observes, as if cataloging my every motion. You're experiencing temporary neuromuscular lag, she states. A side effect of the stasis cycle, it will pass. I glare at her. What the hell did you do to me? She tilts her head, unbothered by my hostility. Nothing yet. Your physiological responses are naturally adapting to the environment. No external modifications have been applied, though that will change soon. A cold knot forms in my stomach. What does that mean? She taps a panel embedded in the platform. A translucent screen flickers to life, scrolling with alien symbols and human anatomical diagrams. My body scanned, analyzed, dissected in digital form. Heart rate fluctuations, neural activity spikes, cellular composition, every intimate detail laid bare in crisp clinical data. "Don't like the sound of that," I mutter. She turns away, her movements fluid and precise. A holographic display expands in front of her, revealing layers of alien script alongside anatomical models, some human, others unrecognizable. Three-dimensional renderings of alien technology hover in the air, shifting and rotating as she interacts with them. The first is an intricate device resembling a neural mesh, strands of bioluminescent material interwoven like a living circuit board. The second is a cylindrical instrument filled with a viscous, iridescent substance that pulses with rhythmic energy. The third is a slender metallic frame lined with translucent fibers, crackling faintly with controlled electrical discharges. I don't understand their full purpose yet, but each one radiates a sense of precision, of purpose. She gestures toward the first device. This is a synaptic resonance interface. It maps neural pathways and enhances cognitive feedback loops. I narrow my eyes. That sounds an awful lot like mind control. She lifts a brow, the barest hint of amusement playing at the edges of her expression. It is a diagnostic tool, not a means of coercion. Your thoughts remain your own, though I suspect they will prove quite revealing. My jaw tightens, but I say nothing. She moves to the second device. This is a regenerative serum designed to accelerate cellular repair. Our species utilizes it for extended space travel, mitigating biological degradation. Her gaze flickers to me. Your physiology may interact with it in ways we have yet to predict. I don't miss the way she says, "may interact." It's clear they have no idea what will happen when they test it on me. And this, I nod toward the third device. She hesitates for a fraction of a second. A bioelectric stimulator. It induces controlled stress responses to measure adaptive resilience, essential for understanding survival thresholds. I let out a slow breath. So, in other words, you're going to shock me and see what happens. She inclines her head slightly. A crude interpretation, but not entirely inaccurate. I take a step back, my instinct screaming at me to run, but where? I'm trapped in a research facility, surrounded by technology beyond my understanding, under the scrutiny of a woman who sees me as a scientific puzzle to be solved. Yet beneath her clinical detachment, there's something else. A tension, a curiosity that extends beyond professional interest. She studies me with an intensity that lingers just a second too long, as if I'm more than just a subject of research. I notice it in the way she folds her arms, the way her fingers rest against her jaw in contemplation, professionalism masking something deeper. "Why me?" I ask, watching her closely. "Out of all the species you've encountered, why is a human so fascinating to you?" Her lips part slightly, but she doesn't answer right away. Instead, she steps closer, observing me like she's searching for the right way to articulate something that even she doesn't fully understand. "Because," she finally says, "you are unpredictable." The air between us shifts. I hold her gaze, reading the unspoken challenge in her expression. She wants to understand me, dissect me, not just physically but mentally. She doesn't just want answers, she wants insight. And maybe, just maybe, she wants something else. I take a slow, deliberate step toward her. "Then let's test a theory," I say, my voice low. "Release me. Let me walk out of this room. Let's see just how unpredictable I really am." For the first time, she hesitates. It's a small hesitation, barely noticeable, but it's there, and that means I have a chance. She doesn't agree, but she doesn't refuse either. Instead, she turns away and presses a control panel. The door slides open with a soft hiss, revealing a corridor lined with pulsating blue lights. She glances back at me, her expression neutral yet somehow charged. "Go, see how far you make it." I don't waste a second. I move, and as I step through the threshold, I can feel her watching. I can feel the weight of her interest, her intrigue. The experiment has already begun, but the question is, am I the subject or is she? The corridor is impossibly smooth, lined with pulsing light strips embedded in the walls. The hum of unseen machinery vibrates through my bones, a constant reminder that I'm in a place beyond my understanding. I don't know where I'm going, but I know I need to keep moving. I glance back once. Dr. Silentvery still stands in the doorway, her shimmering skin catching the cold, artificial glow. She doesn't stop me. She doesn't call for security. She simply watches, studying, calculating. She wants to see what I'll do. I take a steadying breath and push forward. My body is still sluggish, but each step feels stronger, more controlled. I don't know whether it's my natural recovery or something they have done to me, but I don't have time to dwell on it. The corridor splits ahead, branching into two identical pathways. No signs, no markings, just smooth, seamless walls stretching into the unknown. I hesitate, straining to hear anything beyond the low hum of the facility. No voices, no movement, just silence. Then a soft pulse vibrates beneath my feet, barely noticeable but distinct, a rhythm almost like a heartbeat guiding me. I follow it. The corridor narrows slightly, curving into a room filled with floating interfaces. Holographic screens display streams of alien script, flickering data models, and I freeze, images of me. Scans of my body, neural activity readouts, blood composition, cellular analysis, a full genetic breakdown shifting in real time as data updates with each passing second. I move closer, eyes scanning the alien text. I can't read it, but I don't need to. I recognize certain patterns, DNA sequences, metabolic rates, neurological structures. The data is extensive, almost invasive. Every reaction I've had since waking up, every shift in my vitals has been recorded with meticulous precision. I clench my fists. I'm not just a test subject, I'm the test subject. A quiet sound pulls my attention, footsteps, slow, deliberate. I turn just as Dr. Silent enters the room. The door seals behind her with a soft hiss, locking us inside. She doesn't seem surprised that I found this place. If anything, she looks satisfied. "You're processing faster than anticipated," she remarks, glancing at the data. "Your cognitive adaptability is remarkable." I exhale sharply. "You've been tracking me in real time." She nods, every physiological response, every neurological shift, even your decision-making patterns. "Jesus," I mutter, rubbing a hand over my face. "Is there anything you haven't analyzed?" A flicker of something crosses her expression, amusement, curiosity. It's hard to tell with her. "There is still much to uncover," she says, "but we are making progress." I shake my head. "What exactly are you looking for?" She steps closer, the soft shimmer of her skin catching the light. "Confirmation of a hypothesis." I narrow my eyes. "Which is?" She studies me for a long moment. Then she raises a hand and taps a floating interface. The data shifts, reforming into a side-by-side comparison. One half displays my genetic structure glowing in soft blue strands. The other, I inhale sharply, it's different, not human, alien. A structure similar to mine but with subtle differences, denser neural pathways, elongated mitochondrial chains, an intricate lattice woven through the cellular framework. It's close enough to be related but not identical. Not quite. I look at her sharply. What am I looking at? She meets my gaze. A genetic sequence from my species. A slow realization dawns, settling like ice in my veins. You're comparing our DNA. She nods once, because there is overlap. My pulse kicks up. You're saying humans and your kind share genetic markers. A specific subset, yes. She turns back to the data, her voice clinical but edged with something deeper. Your biology exhibits latent compatibility with certain aspects of our physiology, more than any species we have encountered. I swallow hard, and that means what exactly? She hesitates just for a second, and that tells me everything. I exhale a shaky breath. You're looking for something more than just a biological study, aren't you? She doesn't answer immediately. Instead, she lifts her hand and the floating interface shifts again. This time it zooms in on a specific strand within my genetic code, one glowing in a soft, pulsing rhythm. A match appears in her species sequence, a perfect alignment. You are the first human we have analyzed in depth, she finally says, and you possess markers that suggest potential for enhanced genetic fusion. The word fusion sticks in my mind like a warning bell. I stare at the display at our DNA. A sharp exhale leaves me. You're talking about hybridization. A beat of silence, then yes. I step back, my heart pounding. Jesus Christ. You misunderstand, she says, her voice calm but edged with something unreadable. This is not artificial manipulation. This is a natural compatibility we did not expect to find. Your genetic structure is uniquely adaptable, far beyond standard evolutionary parameters. I shake my head. So what? You want to experiment on me until you figure out how to merge our species. A muscle tightens in her jaw. That is not our purpose. Then what is? I demand. Because from where I'm standing, I'm starting to look like an alien breeding project. Her expression flickers, a shift so subtle I almost miss it. She takes a step closer. Human evolution has followed an unpredictable trajectory, she says, her voice softer now but no less intense. You are resilient, adaptive. Your neurological plasticity, your cellular regeneration, these traits are rare even among advanced species. She hesitates, then continues, almost reluctantly. And there are anomalies within our own kind. Genetic stagnation, declining variability, it is an issue we have not yet solved. I stare at her. You need us. A slow breath escapes her. Perhaps. The weight of that word settles between us. I don't know how to respond. The sterile air feels heavier now, charged with something neither of us fully understands. I meet her gaze, searching for answers, for deception, for anything, but what I find isn't cold calculation. It isn't just scientific curiosity. It's something more, a hesitation, a question she hasn't yet voiced, a line we haven't yet crossed. The tension lingers, and in that moment, I realize this isn't just an experiment for either of us anymore. Her breath is steady, controlled, but I see the subtle way her fingers tighten at her sides. She's keeping her distance, maintaining the professional boundary between us, but I can feel the weight of everything unsaid pressing into the sterile air between us. This is more than just science for her. For me, too. I exhale slowly, rubbing a hand over my face as I take in the implications of what she's just told me. If what she's saying is true, then I'm not just a test subject. I'm a potential solution, a key to something her species is missing. And they didn't make me this way. This isn't some experiment gone wrong. It's nature, a connection written in the very building blocks of life, waiting to be discovered. I let out a soft, humorless laugh. You know, when I woke up in this lab, I thought you were going to dissect me. Her expression doesn't change, but something in her eyes shifts. That would be wasteful. Yeah, I huff. I guess it would. She watches me carefully, as if gauging my reaction. I don't know what she expects me to say. Should I be angry, terrified, grateful? I feel all of those things, but none of them fully settle. My mind keeps circling back to one question. What happens now? I ask. Her gaze flickers over me, lingering for half a second too long before she answers. That depends. On what? On how willing you are to cooperate. I let that hang in the air for a beat, my jaw tightening. Cooperate how? She exhales softly and steps closer. There's no hesitation this time, no pretense of emotional distance. Her presence is warm in the cool, clinical environment, and for the first time I notice the faint scent of something metallic and floral, subtle but distinctly alien. Her voice is softer when she speaks. We need to understand the extent of this compatibility. That requires further study, observations, simulations, controlled interactions. She pauses, then adds, but I will not force you. I almost laugh at the absurdity of that statement. Kind of hard to call this voluntary when I woke up strapped to a table. Something flickers across her expression, too quick to read. You were never in danger. Restraints were necessary to monitor your initial response to our environment. I narrow my eyes. So you say. Silence stretches between us. Then, unexpectedly, she tilts her head and regards me with something almost like curiosity. Would you prefer to leave? I blink. What? If you truly wish to leave, I will not stop you. I stare at her, waiting for the catch. Just like that, I ask skeptically. She nods once. I glance at the sealed door, then back at her. And if I stay? Something shifts in her posture, a tension I can't quite place. Then we continue, together. The way she says it sends a strange shiver down my spine. There's no cold detachment in her voice this time, no pure clinical objectivity, just quiet certainty. And the worst part? I believe her. My instincts, the ones screaming at me to be wary, to push back, are at war with something deeper, something primal. I should leave. I should fight harder against this. But I don't want to, not yet. I hold her gaze. Tell me one thing. She waits. If I stay, am I just a test subject to you? A pause, barely a second, but it's enough. Her throat moves as she swallows. No. The air between us is different now, charged. I take a slow breath, steadying myself, then exhale. All right, I say finally. Then let's find out what this all means. Something flickers in her eyes. Relief. Satisfaction. It's gone too fast to tell. She doesn't smile, but there's a softness to her expression now that wasn't there before. Then we begin, she says. She lifts her hand and the floating interfaces shift, lines of data reconfiguring as new sequences appear. My own vitals, neural activity, genetic markers, all displayed in real time. I should feel like a lab rat, but I don't. Not with her standing this close. Not with the way her presence seems to pull at something in me, something I don't fully understand yet. The first test begins, and for the first time since waking up, I choose to stay. The air hums with quiet energy as the holographic displays adjust to the new parameters. Lines of data flicker across the floating screens, each detailing something incomprehensible to me, but she reads them effortlessly, her luminous eyes scanning every fluctuation in my biological metrics. I should be nervous. Maybe I am, but the feeling is overshadowed by something else. Curiosity, anticipation, a strange pull that keeps me standing here instead of demanding my release. She steps closer, and I resist the urge to step back, not because I'm afraid, but because the proximity does something to me. The scent I noticed before, metallic and faintly floral, lingers in the air between us, subtle but undeniably hers. She speaks, her voice quiet but firm. Your body is adapting faster than we predicted. Adapting how? My throat feels dry. She extends her hand, and a translucent panel materializes in front of me, displaying a complex series of biological markers. A human DNA sequence, but interwoven with something else, something I don't recognize. You're producing proteins that shouldn't exist in your physiology, she explains. They're reactive to specific elements in our environment. Your immune system isn't rejecting them, it's... She pauses, tilting her head slightly. It's integrating them. I frown. That sounds unnatural. She considers for a moment before responding. Not unnatural, unexpected. Her gaze flickers to mine, searching. And valuable. The word lingers between us. I shift on my feet, suddenly hyper-aware of the unspoken implications. So what? You keep me here and study me for the rest of my life. Her expression doesn't change, but there's something different in her posture now, a hesitation. That is not my decision to make. I narrow my eyes, but you don't want me to leave. She doesn't deny it. Instead, she turns back to the floating screens, fingers gliding over the interface with practiced ease. We will begin with a controlled exposure test. I need to observe how your system continues to interact with our atmosphere. Sounds safe, I mutter. She doesn't acknowledge my sarcasm. A small compartment opens beside me, revealing a sleek metallic device no bigger than a pill bottle. She takes it and presses a sequence on the interface, then looks at me. Discomfort will be minimal. If you experience distress, I will intervene. That's comforting. Ignoring my remark, she lifts the device, and before I can second-guess myself, I nod. She presses it gently against my neck, and I feel the faintest pressure, then warmth spreading under my skin like liquid sunlight. For a few seconds, nothing happens. Then I inhale sharply. The room around me sharpens, edges growing crisper, colors subtly shifting in intensity. My pulse quickens, not in fear but in awareness. Every sound, the hum of the technology, the quiet cadence of her breath, is amplified. Her gaze locks onto mine. Describe what you feel. I swallow hard. I can hear everything, see things clearer. It's like... I shake my head. It's like my senses have been dialed up. She watches me closely, expression unreadable. No pain. No, I admit, just different. She steps back, glancing at the data streaming in. The alien script is indecipherable to me, but I can see the way the graphs shift, new markers appearing. This confirms the theory, I exhale. Which is? She meets my gaze. You are not merely adapting to our environment, you are evolving. The words send a shiver down my spine. I press a hand to my chest, feeling the steady rhythm of my heartbeat. Everything feels normal, different but normal. I don't feel like I'm changing on some fundamental level, but the data says otherwise. She takes another small step forward, and I realize I'm no longer thinking of her as just a scientist. She's something else now, a presence that commands my attention, my focus. You're handling this well, she says. There's a softness to her tone now, a subtle shift from clinical observation to something more personal. Most subjects experience disorientation at this stage. I arch a brow, most. She hesitates. There were others before you, but none with your genetic markers, none with your ability to synchronize. The realization settles over me like a weight. So this isn't just about me, it's about something bigger, isn't it? Her gaze lingers for a moment before she turns back to the screens. Your biology holds answers we've long searched for. There it is again, the importance of all this. The reason I was taken, the reason I'm still here. I should be angry, should be demanding my freedom, but all I can think about is what this means for them. For me, for us. She moves to a different console, her fingers gliding over glowing symbols. We will proceed with the next phase of analysis. I exhale, steadying myself. And what does that involve? She doesn't answer right away. Instead, she studies me for a moment before speaking. Physical synchronization. The words send a strange pulse through me. I should ask what that means, demand specifics, but I already know instinctively, in a way I can't explain, that this is going to take me somewhere I wasn't prepared to go. Somewhere I'm not sure I want to resist. Her words linger between us, weighty and deliberate. Physical synchronization. The phrase is clinical, precise, yet there's something about the way she says it that makes my pulse quicken. She's watching me carefully, gauging my reaction. I wonder if she can hear the shift in my breathing, sense the way my muscles tense, the way anticipation and uncertainty war inside me. I clear my throat, trying to ground myself. Define physical synchronization. She tilts her head slightly, as if considering how best to phrase it. It is a controlled process of biological attunement. We will introduce subtle stimuli to assess the extent of your adaptive responses. Your body is already integrating aspects of our environment at a molecular level, but we need to determine if deeper physiological alignment is possible. Her explanation is technical, but I catch the implication beneath it. This isn't just about observation anymore, it's about interaction. I force a smirk, hopping to break some of the tension coiling between us. Sounds like you're asking for a dance. She doesn't smile, but something flickers in her expression, something unreadable. In a way, yes, but the rhythm is biochemical. A shiver runs through me. She steps closer, her presence filling my space. I should step back, but I don't. Her hand lifts, hovering inches from my skin.